Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Ruff has flown in from Florida to be with us today. Just got off a plane, only minutes to spare, as you can tell by the shorts. Charlie wrapped up for the winter with the rain lashing down. And of course, Tam, as ever, just off another golf course. We're here for you. If you want to post any messages on the YouTube feed, by all means do so. If you're a football fan, try and keep it decent. And also, you can download PLZ Soccer's app and you can watch the programme at your leisure, or you can go on the Sky and hit the apps there and you'll get on YouTube and you can watch the programme. We'll be speaking to UEFA's Hugh Dallas a little later on. The former top grade referee here in Scotland is discussing VAR. There's a big vote coming up and he tells us about the merits of it, not only for the UK but across Europe, because a lot of clubs and a lot of countries will be implementing it. And is it time for Scotland to catch up? Okay, that to look at. Scottish Premiership fixtures this weekend over Saturday and Sunday, weather permitting, of course. Here's how it all looks on the card. Aberdeen against Hearts is a cracker. Celtic, Livingston, Dundee United, St Johnstone, Ross County against Hibs, St Mirren, Dundee, Motherwell against Rangers on the Sunday. So there's 6 games. You missed it, Ruffy, but as per the terms of his contract, Charlie doesn't want to discuss the 5-0 gubbing with Ross County because it was painful.
Yeah, I read his wee bit in the papers this morning. I could tell he was distraught. But 5-0 at home, it doesn't happen very often to some teams, and you've just got to deal with it and go on to the next game, as I'm sure they will.
We were at Easter Road midweek. You and I certainly couldn't believe it.
No, we couldn't believe it, the score coming in. I was too busy watching behind my eyes, watching Celtic and Hibs are doing in the first half, but sometimes you get games like that. They've got to bin it and concentrate on getting 3 points against St Mirren.
Is it easy the next day to bin, to actually just put it away?
No, it hurt the next day, and it's it festers away at you, and then you realise that come today you've got another game tomorrow, so you have to forget about it. It's disappointment, but we'll have a good support backing us tomorrow again, and we need to go and try and win the game, and hopefully we can do that and put that disappointment 5-0. It's not good enough, we understand that, and listen, we move on from it and we go again Saturday. Yeah,
what's the mood like? You're a professional, you've been it, seen it and done it with lots of games, and maybe games like that you've had before. What's the mood like for maybe the less experienced?
Well, it's up to me, the experienced ones, to pick the group up and tell them we have to forget about it because it will affect you in the following game. So that's what I've been doing the last, today and yesterday is about, talking about it, but getting over it and realising that that's it gone now, push to the back of your mind. And we look forward to St Mirren because it's another big challenge. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we mentioned the fixtures. We will hear from Hugh Dallas and a number of managers who've been talking about the introduction of VAR very shortly. First and foremost, Celtic against Livingston, with Celtic with a real opportunity, Ruffy, to go top of the table. How significant will that be psychologically, or does it matter?
No, I think it does. I think if you hit the top, it puts a wee bit of pressure on the teams behind. When we've seen the way they're playing now, they're not conceding as much. They're absolutely flying up front, and everybody's chipping in with goals. So no, I think it's for where they were to if it happens in the top of the league. I'm sure they'll all be encouraged by that. Yeah, the big performance in midweek that Ange Postecoglou was raving about was Tom Rogic. He's out for 3 weeks, so that's a blow. Tam, you were there. What did you make of them?
I thought Celtic for the first 35 minutes were absolutely outstanding. Hibs couldn't get near them, and a lot of people are saying Hibs played poorly, but I thought Celtic were outstanding. Moved the ball quick. They had a great blend in the middle of the park. They've got McGregor, who just gets it and gives it quick. Turnbull tries to play balls in behind, and Rogic was just driving at people. I mean, Gogic, I was getting Rogic and Gogic mixed up. Gogic could have got sent off, really, in the first 20 minutes. He pulled him down 3 or 4 times. He just couldn't get near him, and I think the game changed a little bit when Rogic went off. Beaton come on, and Celtic kind of, they took the foot off the gas in terms of going attacking Hibs.
They're two totally different players, so that's why your dynamics, your whole team will change. Yeah.
Another thing about it, Charlie, which I think, from our point of view, we were thinking about it midweek after we'd looked at the highlights of all the games. Yeah. We were wondering about the top 10 players on forum in Scotland. I wonder if you can post, if you get a chance, you can download the PLZ Soccer app, and in the submission section you can actually just, you see how I'm doing that, just typing away, you can send us a message on who you think the top 10 players in Scotland are right now. We've put together 10 and we'll let you see that a little later on, but we'll give you time on our YouTube feed as well to come up with who you think are the top 10 players in Scotland right now on forum. Sorry?
You want to play by 11?
No, because I only got the graphic for 10, so, but we're only... I thought, good point, Tom. Just one of those interesting ones, and the reason I mention that is because I thought, Ruffy, Callum McGregor for me is absolutely top drawer at the moment. I think since Brown's departure, he has suddenly taken on that kind of a leadership role. He's a different style, I know, but he wants the ball in difficult areas. He wants to shift it, move it, keep the team going.
He's doing the same kind of thing as Brown, but with more pace and more energy. You know, Scott would do 10 yards, 15 yards. He's actually, you know, bringing everybody into the game, you know, with his movement and everything. And you're right, you know, he just got so much energy. And the amount of games he played last year in Scotland and Celtic, his energy and everything. He's one of the guys who just doesn't want to be left out. And I'm sure he'll play as many games again this year. But he's got all the energy in that midfield. Yeah, no, I'm a little bit surprised. Some people were obviously shaking their heads in midweek when Ange Postecoglou was asked about, you know, is this a Celtic side that's capable of winning the title? I think he was ducking and diving and dodging it, because I don't know any manager who's in charge of Celtic and Rangers who should not be talking about the main goal is winning the title. Right now, apart from going top, I think the Celtic manager wants to concentrate on the ever-improving form.
Yeah, do you get something for that in October? Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good opportunity for us to continue, you know, our good form, and our performances have been pretty consistent, and obviously that's been backed up by the results, which are obviously means we moved up the table, which is great. But ultimately, the focus tomorrow is more about just continuing on that progress we've been making.
Yeah, they're playing good football, and I think it's going to be a very different Celtic from the one that came a cropper against Livingston.
No, definitely. I think it's a totally different team. I think they've now got a nice balance about the team, and they've now got a back four that they're playing most weeks. Juranovic has settled in nicely in the left back area, and Ralston again was excellent during the week. And the two centre backs, I thought, played well against Hibs, albeit Hibs were poor up top. But no, I think they're a different team. They've got a bit of momentum now, and it'll be interesting to see, you know, if Celtic do win, how Rangers react to that, because I don't think Rangers have been knocked off the top of the league for a long time. They've been put under no pressure last season by Celtic, so it'll be interesting to see if Celtic do go ahead of them. Difficult game at Motherwell, how Rangers go and respond to that.
Yeah, I'm asking you the question, Charlie, but I'm not quite sure that I buy into it. But there's fans back in now. They'll be getting on the players' backs if they're not playing the way they should be. Is that affecting Rangers, or just Gerrard has to get them all firing again?
Yeah, he has to get them firing again. I just think, I was talking to Scotty Arfield last night, and he was just saying it took Rangers a little bit of time to get going through obviously Walter's passing and then 2 goals that they lost early. The crowd then realised that the crowd needed to back the players, and all of a sudden they got a lift and they got the goals, and you know, that's the way it goes. But at the moment it's just not happening. You know, the rhythm's not there and what they want. Kent is a huge miss for them. We kept saying all season, once Celtic get a settled group and a settled side, they will come good. Ange's right to calm everything down, because let's say, they're going well, but they're one result away from another slap in the face, so you have to just keep everything calm. They'll be delighted if they can win Saturday and go top of the league. It gives them a little bit more confidence, and like I say, Rangers have to then go and chase. So Rangers have not been in that position for a long time, so it'll be interesting to see how they react again on Sunday. A difficult away game at Motherwell.
Yeah, Ruffy, are Livingston capable of giving Celtic, as Charlie says, a slap in the face?
No, I don't think so, no, this time. I think the last time when they beat Celtic, they got Celtic at the right time. But if you cast your mind back to that game, Celtic had at least chances to score 3, 4, 5 goals. But they never took them. It was one of their games, and I have to give Livingston credit for getting the win. But at Parkhead and the way these forwards at Celtic are playing just now, I think it's going to be a long 90 minutes.
They did well against Dundee United though, Tam. 10 men as well.
They did. You know, obviously a lot of people would have thought when Livingston went down to 10 men that Dundee United were going to win the game, but they dug out a point. I think they've got 7 points out of the last 9. They've won their last 2 away games, so they're starting to improve a little bit, Livingston. But you know, Celtic were different class in the first half during the week. And I think if they play like that against Livingston, again, the game will be finished in the first half.
That's the thing about the Old Firm. Like you say, Celtic at the moment are on fire. You go to Celtic Park and you lose an early goal. They can kill the game in 45 minutes, and that's that's not what you want. So it's managers not on the touchline, banned. So it's going to be a long afternoon if you don't try and impose yourself a little bit on the game.
Yeah, and Livingston, I tipped them to go down, but this bottom end, Charlie, I'm looking at the bottom end. You can't pick from one week to the other. You know, one minute we're saying to ourselves, Malky can't buy a win. Next minute it's James. Suddenly you get a wee run. Yeah. David Martindale.
It happens. It's football, and there's nobody detached, and like there's many, like you say, St Johnstone. You know, they're done it as well. You know, and Aberdeen got a point the weekend, but you know, they could have been in it if they never beat Hibs. So I think there's 5 or 6 teams that are going to be in it as well. It's not, the league will eventually now, 10 games are gone, back to the start really of the campaign. So you need to try and pick up as many points as you can. But listen, it'll be a lot of teams will beat everybody this year, and it'll be a difficult league. But you just got to make sure that you're not in the bottom 2 positions come the end of the season.
Yeah, Sunday. Never mind. The game on Sunday, but Saturday, I wonder how many games will survive the weather. I was looking at the pitch for Sunday's game, Motherwell against Rangers, and they are trying to ship the water as far away as possible at the moment, and with great difficulty, may I add.
I think the rain that's fell in the west of Scotland, I don't know what it's like in the east, but certainly through here it's been biblical.
It's been poor.
It's been unbelievable, and I seen a picture, they clearing the dugouts, they were nearly underwater. So I think there will be a lot of games off, particularly the games that are on grass. The AstroTurf should hopefully hold up, but I think there might be a couple of games off this weekend.
Yeah, as for Motherwell against Rangers, Ruffy, if anything, we highlighted in the last couple of days the fact that they're now no longer that rock solid, tight back four with the keeper performing and the back four keeping as many attacks out as possible. I'm looking at 3 clean sheets in the last 11 league games, Rangers.
Yeah, and I think the difference for this year and last year is last year it was a settled back four and a settled goalkeeper as well. The Rangers managers decided to rest McGregor and Davis, and you can see the reasons why. They're older than everybody else. But I don't think he'll be resting them this weekend. I think they're massive players for Rangers on the park. So I think he'll try and get back to his best 11 again. It used to be like 9 or 10 of the 11 that played every week, and that's not been happening, particularly at the back with the injuries. So really, they have to start getting clean sheets again.
And if you're going to cut him some slack, Charlie, I've written down here Kent, Jack, Barisic, Helander, huge losses to them.
Yeah, I think Jack is a little bit different because longer term, but Kent and Barisic, even Helander as well, who recently just coming back from the cruciate injury, has been a huge blow because they've been instrumental to what they did last season. But I don't think Stephen will be making an excuse for that. He just feels that the team have probably not performed and got the sharpness that they expected. And it's not about the goalkeeper changing or Davis not playing. Individuals have to take more responsibility. I've watched them a few times here, and there's individuals that are pointing fingers at each other, and I've not seen that recently, but only recently in the last few games I've seen 1 or 2 pointing the finger at each other and blaming each other. So they need to get that sorted out, and like I say, they need to perform well if they want to try and retain the title. And
Stephen Gerrard, the Rangers manager, this is what he had to say. Obviously with Aberdeen in mind from midweek and slipping up there, I don't think any draw is an acceptable result at Rangers. The expectations and demands of this football club is to win every match, and we accept that. From the inside, I see a group of boys willing to work hard and fight. It's a pleasure to work with a team that have lost 1 domestic game in 50. We analyse everything, and if something needs fixed, we work as hard as we can to sort it. This is an opportunity to improve moving forward. So that's it from a Rangers perspective. From a Motherwell one, roughly they're 6th in the table. They haven't won any of the last 4 league games, so they need to try and find something, albeit, dare I say, they've got a boy that some people are talking about as far as Scotland's squad's concerned. He might be worth a sniff. Tony Watt, do you agree with that?
Well, I agree with any striker, any Scottish striker that we've got is going to is starting to score goals frequently in league football. I mean, we talked about Griff. If he started scoring goals, he's got to come into contention. We're really short in that position. And Tony Watt looks as if he's matured a lot this year, and if he continues to score goals, you've got to have a look at him. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Brophy's another one who's scored a few goals as well. He's been involved. Steve knows him. I seen Shanklin scored in the weekend as well. So there'll be opportunities there for these lads that are scoring goals. You know, Nisbet's a wee bit off the boil at the moment, so you know then Steve's got a decision, but he's loyal to his players there. So it'll be interesting to see when the squad's announced next week for what he goes with.
Yeah, Brophy's an interesting one. Here's some of the candidates who might just catch his eye. Nisbet's gone off the boil. 2 goals, 1 assist in 9 appearances. Tony Watt, I mean, it's a great return there, Tam. Johnny Russell's another one, and Ross Stewart, who might be shouting from afar, hey, take a look at us.
Yeah, listen, I think Nisbet's place to see is under pressure now with the way he's playing. And I think there's other guys who are doing the business. Tony Watt, again, is scoring goals. Brophy, as Charlie said there, has scored a few goals. He's starting to play well as well. But Johnny Russell's the main one for me. I watch a lot of MLS football because I obviously played over there, and he's absolutely flying. I think he scored in 7 or 8. He broke the record over there, scoring in 7 or 8 games in a row. So that's a good level, the MLS. It's no a pub league. It's a good level. So he's got to be batting the door down now.
I know he's scored a few goals. It's the assists, 7 or 8 assists. That makes a difference as well. When you're actually contributing on the opposite side of the game, it's that'll get him right in chance. But it's as if Johnny might not want to come back and play. That's a problem. I don't know.
No, I'll give you the answer to that. Emphatically, it's yes.
Oh, he does?
Oh, absolutely. Johnny Russell, the one thing I really admire about him is the fact that, Charlie, he wants to come back. He travels back. He doesn't moan about sitting on the bench. And remember, he went through that run, Tam, where he was on the bench. He travelled from America 4 or 5 times, didn't even get a sniff on the park. But he's absolutely determined to play for Scotland.
That's a great attitude. Obviously, we don't know that, but you've put us right. So, if he's prepared to go back and play for Scotland, I think his form over there is definitely worth a look.
But it might change a little bit because he's in such good form for them, and he's knowing that he's going to come back here for 10, 12 days and no play. You know, I think you've got to have no bit of insurances, but at least think you're going to get an opportunity to play, to come back.
Yeah, but he didn't get those assurances the last time, Robbie, which is why I love his attitude.
Why did he get left out?
I mean, I think
if he's scoring goals, right, I think he's at 37 this season.
Yeah.
You know, you have to ask why he was. Maybe Charlie's right. Maybe there was a wee bit of discussion about the travelling and which happens. It's common sense. You know, might have said to the manager, "Look, don't bring me if you don't really need me." You know, but now with the form that he's on, the manager might just pick up the phone and say, right, we do need you.
Yeah. Listen, it's an interesting one. I just thought I'd show you some of the runners and riders in this one to see what you think about it. So, listen, we never gave our predictions. Celtic Livingston, I've got them to win this one comfortably 3-0. You?
I went for 4-0.
4-0?
Yes.
Yeah, Dancer, you could be rooted at the bottom of the predictor list.
If Celtic got an early goal, that could be any score.
Yeah.
The way they played down there.
I went 3-0.
You worried the fact that Tam's now at the bottom?
I'm just overjoyed.
Yeah.
Because
Gabriel's...
I mean, I've had nothing before.
Yeah.
And I know I hadn't slept for 2 nights, so...
You had no points in the predictor in midweek,
nothing.
Charlie. That is disgraceful, isn't
nothing.
it? Who gets nothing? Who gets nothing in the predictor?
Let's just be, I had 2-1 to Motherwell, and the referees cost me 5 points by not only giving a penalty, it was never a penalty, but then retaking it when the guy was a centimetre off his line.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Well, listen.
thanks for that, referee.
I'm glad you.
But Hugh Dallas is coming on, so ask him what you think.
I want my 5 points back, Hugh, if you're watching.
Listen, I'm delighted you said that because Hugh is going to join us now. Obviously, still heavily involved at UEFA. Hugh, thanks for joining us because the one thing we are desperate to talk about, and you can give us a great insight into it, is there is indeed coming up the big vote on VAR with Scotland's top clubs are looking at it and looking how they're going to pay for it in the lower leagues and, of course, in the top flight. What do you think it will bring to our game? What's the thing that I think everybody would want to embrace from a referee's point of view?
Well, first of all, good to see you guys. I think it won't solve all the problems, that's for sure. It's really going to be brought in. Hopefully the clubs are going to vote in its favour. But it's only really there to solve major, obvious errors that's made by the referee or the assistant referee. Penalty area incidents are all checked. All goals are checked. Serious missed incidents off the ball are obviously checked. So I've seen a lot over the past, few weeks in Scotland, which has caused a great deal of debate. But the majority of the decisions, I have to be honest, VAR would have got involved in.
I mean, that's a key question. I mean, over the years, I always get a little bit miffed, Hugh, when people question the integrity of referees. It's a split second, it's a decision. They do it as honestly as they possibly can. We've had a period when you were refereeing where we had a glut of really good top drawer European referees. We're going all across Europe. This time around, though, England has had a difficult year, and then slowly but surely they realigned how they were going to use it and interpret it. And I think that's the key to us having a smooth transition now, is the fact that England has had their testing. We could maybe learn the lessons of what they found out.
Yeah, it's a good point, Peter. I think one of the things that we need to ensure is that we don't rush into introducing it, because we realise that the clubs hopefully will want it. But there's a great deal of training involved. There's the protocols all have to be followed. It has to be run offline for a short period of time, which means that the VAR would be operating, but not in contact with the actual referee on the pitch, because they're just trialling it. And then, of course, then they start to introduce it. So the very important thing is that they don't rush to introduce it, because what we did see in other countries in their domestic competitions was it wasn't a good advert. Things weren't running well. We were paid the ultimate compliment because they followed our line in UEFA during the Euro. We spent a great deal of time training our referees in the lead up to Euro for months and months. We're also very lucky in UEFA that we have the top VARs from the top footballing countries, from Spain and Germany and Italy, etc. So it was easier for us. But the Euro was very successful. England have followed the UEFA line, and it seems to be working really well down south.
Andrew is a top official in the country at the moment. What's the feedback from the referees in our country? Are they really looking forward to embrace it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you can imagine, Peter. You spoke about when we were refereeing, the guys were playing at the top level, and we still made mistakes. And I've actually witnessed coming out of a stadium from a top match where a referee is congratulated on the wrong penalty that he gave, which he then corrected. We never had that option. About the wrong penalties we awarded for decades afterwards. So of course referees are going to embrace VAR. It won't make them referee any differently. You should still referee the very same on the pitch, but it's like an insurance. You pay car insurance, but it doesn't mean to say you go and drive, like an idiot on the road. The insurance is there if you need it. If you don't need it, you don't use it.
And with that in mind, Hugh, I know that you mentioned there that it'll be major penalty decisions, goals. Obviously they'll be looking at as well. A handball that might have been missed, or indeed a clear and obvious mistake with a dangerous tackle is something that will be embraced when VAR eventually comes into play. How crucial do you think it will be that the experience of the referee to say, look, okay, I've got the word in my ear, I'm going to go over to the sidelines? Because some people have been guilty of saying, I'm not going to go and take a look at it, but that comes with experience, I would presume.
Yeah, well, the protocol for what they call an on-field review would be that, of course, you have a bank of screens where you have the VAR and you have the assistant VAR sitting in the video operating room with also an operator who is the guy like from Hawkeye or whoever it would be that would be operating. He would see the incident, and in his opinion, if he thought the referee had made a clear and obvious error, then he would say to the referee, stop the match or don't restart the match. I want you to come to an on-field review. A referee would normally, in fact, I don't know a referee who's not said, I'm coming to have a look. Normally when they come to have a look, they're normally going to change their decision, because the VAR is going to show them an image which the referee has not seen live during play.
Yeah, I wonder what about a young Hugh Dallas from 25, 30 years ago? Would you have loved that? It's almost like being able to go back I'm giving you the chance, Hugh, to go back in a DeLorean car, set it back to your peak time. Wouldn't you have loved VAR?
It would have been an absolute dream, you know, to know that you had that parachute there, that if you made it, and it doesn't take the pressure off you at the time, but it certainly removes the pressure after the match. But as I said, I saw a penalty incident midweek which caused a great deal of debate in the media, and that's the type of incident that VAR would not get involved in, because there are elements to say that it could have been a foul, there are elements to say maybe it wasn't a foul. That's not what VAR is for.
So that incident you're talking about at Ibrox would not have been at the forefront of people's minds?
Absolutely not.
And just on that point, Hugh, just before you go, you know, would a lot of people, you talked about the consternation of the penalties suggestion. You know, Ryan Porteous, Tam's been talking about him. He's come in for a couple of rash challenges. What's your take on that?
I read what Tam was saying. I think it was yesterday on the Tackle on Wednesday. I never saw the Hibernian match on Wednesday, but I did see the match he's talking about, the Ibrox, and that challenge, definitely VAR would not be involved, because the VAR would say, yeah, there are elements to support a red card there, and therefore he doesn't get involved. I think I said to you, Peter, earlier when we were talking, the infamous incident I had at St Johnstone many years ago against Celtic with John O'Neill, where John O'Neill, I thought, tried to kick a player, and I gave him a red card, and when you see the replay, he was actually kicking the grass off the bottom of his boot. That's a clear and obvious error which would have been corrected by VAR.
Yeah, absolutely. They wouldn't have been able to correct the abuse that you were probably given for the full weekend after that, Hugh.
Still.
Listen, Hugh, it's
Every
good to
time
see you in
John
fine
O'Neill, I've got to
fettle.
buy him a beer.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure John's let it go by now. He hasn't. No, Tam's just said he hasn't, Hugh. He's still upset about it. Listen, Hugh, it's an absolute joy. I love the fact that, you know, with all your busy schedule with UEFA, you've given us some time just to give us an insight into the VAR, and good to see you're looking well. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, guys. All the best. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Brilliant. Good to see it, Ruffy, because people are thinking, you know, and this is the problem, when we get it, people are thinking it's going to be every bit of the game. It's not. It's, you know, we've got to look at what England's doing and what mistakes they've made and embrace it. And those, I mean, what did you make of what he said there about, you know, for example, Ryan Porteous? It's, you know, it would not have been challenged, the Morelos situation as well.
It'd be interesting to see how it all turns out. You know, it's obviously got to be a clear and obvious area for them to overturn it.
Yeah.
So, listen, I'm all for it. It would certainly stop the moon howlers on social media.
Do you honestly think it was in this country? In this country?
That VR's not right. They actually blame the machine as well. That machine's a Rangers fan.
No, but I was just about to say to you, they've been looking into who made the VAR machine.
What country?
Our country's mental.
Who made the product?
It's absolutely insane.
But the thing is, like I say, I think it's good to have somebody like Hugh Dallas come on. I know they do it a lot in England and in Sky and things like that, but for Hugh to come on and explain decisions and what referees are thinking, it'd actually be a good thing every now and then for to come and what's going on in Scottish football, especially with VAR coming in now. He can keep us up to date what's actually happening because he's done it at UEFA. So let's say with Tam, I'm all for it, and it'll be the good thing.
I can read your mind.
He's trying to get Hugh Dallas a wee gig in the old Dermot McGallagher. He's got BBC.
Yeah.
Hugh Dallas Friday when he comes in, gives the edition. I'll get you a few quid, my way.
Absolutely.
Our next referee.
We could get Hugh in, because if Ruffy doesn't make it, you know, every now and then,
only around the corner, you know.
Every third Friday, he's only around the corner from the studio,
Exactly.
so it'd be fine. Yeah. We could easily get Hugh in, top man. But it was interesting to hear what he had to say there, Ruffy, on it.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is we want to get the big decisions right, the important ones, you know, that, and it takes a bit of pressure off the referees, you know, that, I'm only bringing up the Rangers incident with the goal because it was recent. That's the kind of thing we would like to get cleared up, and it takes the pressure off the referee if the referee can go and have another look at it, because unless you've refereed, I don't know, have you ever refereed a game? I've refereed a game. I refereed a game with the prisoners at Berlin, and It's a charity game. And I was quite happy to get out alive, to tell you the truth.
You must have get paid for it.
Unless you've been there and you've had to make that decision, because once you've made the decision, there's no way out. You've done it. You can't get a chance to see it again, and you've got to move on. But if they're getting a chance to see it again, it can only be good for them.
It's even bad, like you obviously playing that in training when a manager, assistant manager gives a decision.
Oh.
And you still crack up mental, don't you? And like he sticks by it no matter what. And you know, it's just. But
I cannot wait to see how this country embraces it, questions it, becomes critical of it, because you know you only have to look at the way we conduct ourselves.
Where's the studio?
Where's the studio?
Billy has just.
Why is it in Guffin?
Honestly, Billy has just sent me a message on the app, and he says, "Peter, there's a rumour that when VAR is introduced, the control office will be at Ibrox." I mean, honestly, Billy, we haven't even got it in yet.
Well, I'm delighted I'll probably retire by the time it comes out.
I wish there had been VAR about 60 years ago, 50 years ago, when we all played in the park. Maybe you didn't it? When we played in the park, you used to put down a couple of jackets for the goals, and you were in the goals, and anybody that shot near the jackets, it was a goal.
Yeah.
No, it was no arguing or none.
That was taking that too far.
He was just thinking about cameras about something else.
Yeah, 22 aside. Jim McKinnon says, I think VR would be good for the game. I assume goal line technology will be brought in as well. Maybe could start off with trialling the goal line technology. I would assume it's got to be there, Tom. Thanks to the countless people who obviously post these messages, and especially with the VAR, because it is indeed
my
a hot
thing
topic.
as well, like still going back to it, is that are the referees, are they going to go full time, or are they still going to be there on a part time basis? But and obviously saying that the SFA will fund the training, but surely if they're coming into VAR, they're going to. How many referees do you need to use? You have 3 officials at the game, then the TV.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot of officials now, so they're going to have to try and speed the process up for people to be referees or bring them up to different levels.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the other interesting point. But I think that the general consensus is obviously they'll pay for the main Premiership one, and the Premier League clubs are going to pay somewhere in the region of £60,000 each to get it in League One and League Two. And Championship as well. It'll be interesting. So thanks to Andy McGovern, who's just sent us a message. Peter, could you ask Tam where he got the Hugo Boss top he was wearing on Wednesday's show? I have the same one but haven't seen it for ages. Did he steal it from my washing line? So there, Andy in East Kilbride. So interesting there. Good line. Thanks for all the messages with regards to VAR as well. We can't wait for it. I'm really looking forward to it. We were talking there about Motherwell Rangers and we embraced the fact that Hugh had come on, which was great. Aberdeen against Hearts. We will be discussing the top 10 footballers in Scotland now. Who do you think they are? Give us your message on that. Aberdeen against Hearts. Well, listen, some people would say a point at Ibrox, great, time to celebrate it. Some people would probably look at it and say, wait a minute, you're 2-0 up. Can you not defend a 2-goal advantage? How are you viewing it as they get ready to face Hearts?
I think it's a good point. I know they went 2-0 up, and by all accounts they deserve to get the draw. But listen, it's a dodgy penalty, to be honest. I don't think it was a penalty, the second one for Rangers. So Aberdeen might feel a little bit aggrieved. Rangers came back strongly by all accounts in the second half, and a draw was probably a fair result. But when I looked at slaughtering Glass last week, 2 weeks, saying he was sack race, he's top of the sack race and all that.
No, I said he was one of people who were actually being talked about. I never said he was getting sacked.
I know, but you were.
No, I never said he was going to get sacked. I said he is one of those people who is under pressure. 3 guys were under pressure at that time. One of them was Stephen Glass without a win in 10. The other one was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And the third one, Ruffy, can you remember who it was? There was a third manager who was under a bit of P.
I'll come to it
It'll come in a minute. But
I think that he's came back. He beat Hibs a good point at Ibrox, 4 points, and they play Hearts at the weekend. Listen, if they can go and beat Hearts, a lot of people were thinking they were going to get nothing out of the 3 games, and they can maybe get 7 points. Would be a great return.
I think that's a good point you make.
That'd be a great return, but I don't think they will. I think Hearts will beat them 1-0.
So pressure's back on?
No,
right, okay. Charlie, it's a fickle world. It's a knee-jerk at times, but are there signs from your point of view that Aberdeen are suddenly, maybe getting enough of the time with Stephen Glass to implement his ideas?
Listen, he's implemented the idea. It's just getting results. It all comes down to getting results. If you don't get results, then it puts a bit of pressure on. But 4 points in 2 games, it gives them a bit of breathing space. They're at home against Hearts, and it's a good opportunity, but they're missing a few players, which is blow for them. But you know, they'll be able to adapt because they have invested well and they've got some good players that can come in. You know, say McGregor can come in midweek, so no, it'll be interesting to see what he goes with.
Yeah, what are you going for in this one, Ruffy?
Yeah, I think Aberdeen have maybe got Hearts at the right time. Hearts are stuttering a wee bit. Obviously, Boyce missing the other night there, and he's a big player for them. So no, I think Aberdeen will get a point out of this one.
Yeah, Robbie's quick to point out. I've got 1-1 as well, Ruffy. Robbie's quick to point out. Hang fire here. We're still unbeaten.
It's unbelievable. They've not lost a game, so they're there in merit. They've done brilliant, and you know, it's as tough as, you know, going to Aberdeen will be a tough game, and they know that. So it'll be interesting to see what result it'll be. But
what do you think?
I think that'll be a draw.
Yeah, Tom.
I've went for Hearts. I think Hearts will win it 1-0. I think there'll be a low scoring.
I'm not happy with the 900 tickets just for the fans. I mean, honestly, the rules are changing every day. Clubs are just making it up as they go along.
Yeah, listen, it's poor because I think the Hearts are going well. I think they'd have took 1,500, 2,000 up there, as many as they could get.
Not sure the 5,000 that Robbie said they would take them.
Aye, maybe no 5,000, but I think they'd have took 1,000, 1,500. So, listen, I think if it's poor, you want as many fans as you can in the grounds, and
even especially if Aberdeen are not going to fill the stadium, which they're not.
No.
So, you know, if there's an opportunity to give them 2,000 tickets or whatever, and they're going to sell them,
well.
So they're going to get the financial reward from it.
Absolutely. If it was a BBC home game, they might have filled the stadium. You know, just with technicians and pundits. But Ross County against Hibs, Ross County flying. I mean, Malky's team talk this week, he'll just be saying, right, let's steam into this mob as well.
Listen, they're not playing Dundee this week. They're playing a better quality side, so I'm going to go.
You had an off day.
Exactly.
I'm a bit to swear.
Aye, absolutely.
No, listen,
you can hit them now because we've got a VAR right now, Charlie.
No, listen, I don't think it's a great time for Hibs to be getting them. I think it's a good time for Ross County to be getting Hibs because Hibs 4 defeats in a row. Again, first half the other night, not good enough. I know Celtic were excellent, but too many players off the boil. He's no got players that he can bring in. I wonder if he'll bring a couple of young boys in just to give them a bit of freshness, a bit of enthusiasm, a bit of life, because they need to change something. And you know, I think they'll go up there and they need to get something. They need to stop the rot, and I think they'll go up there and they'll be best to get some points.
Like the one that you threw, like Gullen coming in.
I think I'm glad you said that.
Anybody else?
I think we had about $5,000 on that, Ruffy. As soon as Big Mouth opened it, that was us. Boom, Gullen.
You think it brings some just to freshen up?
Sometimes your things are not going well. You throw a couple of young boys in just to give you a bit of life.
Who have you got?
The young boy Josh Campbell come on against Celtic during the week. Come on and played well. Big young Josh O'Connor. I don't know if he's in the squad, but boys like that, just come in and give you a bit of life and a bit of enthusiasm.
Although, to be fair though, I mean, okay, it's one of those nights, you're absolutely right, everything just goes for them. But it wasn't going for Ross County prior to that, and I thought they played some nice football. I'd watched them 2 or 3 times.
Well, they were scoring 2 goals a game.
Yeah.
And the problem was they were shipping 4 goals a game.
Yeah.
So, or 3 or 4 goals a game. So that when you're shipping goals like that, and the goals that they lost against St Mirren, you're thinking, you can see why they're down the bottom like ourselves, you know, they were shipping goals. And that's what we took into the game, the goals that they lost against St Mirren. Big centre-back, long boy, ducks it away and leaves it and things like that. So, but that happens, but, you know, they were playing well and they were scoring goals. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't as if they weren't scoring goals. So when you are scoring goals, it gives you a momentum in the game. And for us, we just weren't at the races, and, you know, they scored 5 goals, and listen, it could have been more. Fortunately for us, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And, no, let's say it'll be a big test for Hibs to go there because of that. You know, Malky will have them buoyant, ready to go.
Do you think they're capable of beating Hibs on what you witnessed?
Yeah. I think they could be.
Yeah, because I was just I mentioned to Jack Ross. I mean, it's 4 games without a win, and it's not quite going according to plan. Doesn't have options that he can switch around with a bit of experience in there. And I did ask him about the effect Ross County winning that so hugely against Dundee, would that have an effect on them going up there to Dingwall, trying to get a result to stop the rot?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I must admit, when we're preparing for opposition, I look more at team shape and system, etc., rather than the result, just because I think it's difficult to predict how a team will feel in the aftermath of it, whether they get too high or whether they get too low, etc. So it was always going to be a difficult match for us. 1, because of the run we find ourselves in at the moment, and 2, any away game in the Premier League is difficult. But focus for us is in the work between now and Saturday's quick turnaround is playing like we did second half.
I've got it as 1-1, Tam.
Yeah, I've went for one each as well. I don't see Hibs going up there and getting the result. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they can go and stop the rot. But Ross County coming off a 5-0, the confidence will be flowing through them. They look as if they've got a lot of legs in their team. A lot of the guys that they've brought up from England now starting to settle. Hungbo and Charles Regan Cook. I think they've got two wide men, good wide men, and so I think Hibs got up there and get a draw.
Yeah, the boy Hungbo's goal, Ruffy, was absolutely outrageous.
I was going to say that. Was it? I know the conditions were pretty bad with the rain. Was there a wind assisted? Was there a bad wind at the park? No. His shot just seemed to fly and pick up space.
It was just an unbelievable. It was an unbelievable strike.
Can't save him.
You know, he's 35 yards out. It's unbelievable. It's right. I turned round and I seen it. It was right in the stanchion. I don't think any goalie would have saved it. It was an unbelievable strike, and but I still think Hibs will beat them tomorrow.
Yeah, you're going for Hibs just to edge it?
I think Hibs will just edge it.
Ruffy?
I've left my old team out in the last couple of weeks, so I'm getting behind them this weekend. I'm going to go Hibs to win 2-1.
Right, great. This is fantastic news because Ruffy and Tam could become detached before Christmas in this predictor league.
They'll just have fun.
Just because of the
battle against each other.
Yeah. Anyway, Dundee United against St Johnstone. You've got to hand it to Thomas Coates. It's his new official Sunday name. Got to hand it to him, Ruffy. They're playing well.
Yeah, they were one of the teams at the beginning we were all doubting. We were all doubting him. We were doubting his players. And they've came good, and they're entertaining to watch. They're strong at the back. You know, they've got a lot of pace up front. Home advantage. The way they're going on, I've got to go a home win.
Yeah.
You know.
How do we make friends in Scotland long term? we're knee jerk. We slaughter people one week and then they're back in the next week. I mean, this is a boy who's slowly but surely. We thought they'll have a shaky start. I don't think anybody was calling for his head, but you were wondering if maybe he was the cheap option. That's one of the things we were discussing at the start.
Yeah, they lost the first game of the season away at Aberdeen 2-0, and I can guarantee you there was a lot of people, Dundee United fans, thinking what we do with him in charge. Yeah, because that's the way Scottish football is, and football fans are knee-jerk. One game, he's a diddy. Now, look at them now. You know, they're sitting third in the league. They're flying, playing really, really well. I don't think they'll beat St Johnstone, but
yeah. Interesting you say that. The one thing that I think will be emotional up at Tannadice, and let's not forget, you know, there's a lot of people talking about, and rightly so, the achievements that Walter Smith achieved at Rangers, which was absolutely phenomenal, which makes him one of the greatest managers certainly in Scottish football. He's up there with the greats, and in British football. And as we mentioned, he highlighted he was in the top 10. The reason for that is because of his huge back catalogue of his experience, and he was with Jim McLean at Dundee United for a considerable amount of time with a really good side, Charlie. So there will be a minute's applause for Walter Smith from the Dundee United fans on Saturday.
Yeah, it's great of them to show the appreciation. He's part of that era that Jim was there, and it just shows the magnitude of the man he is. You know, I think everybody in Scottish football respect him this weekend, if they've never done it during the week. And it's obviously it is sad, but you know, he'll always be remembered as, you know, for me, the greatest ever Rangers manager. Yeah, absolutely. I know there are people who'll mention Bill Struth, but for people in our lifetime who look back at Walter's achievements, certainly up there with the best. Dundee United are coming up against the St Johnstone side, just 4 points off the bottom of the table, 1 win in their last 5, not good. And Callum Davison realises they're up against an impressive team.
I think that they're very well organised. I think they press really well. They try and force you to a side. I think they've got a real good balance of youth and experience in the team. I think they're probably on a high. They're positive. You know, they've got a good mindset. We've got to go there and make sure we make it a really tough game for them.
What are you going for on this one? I've got Dundee United to win 2-1, Tom.
I'm going to go for a wee upset here. I think St Johnstone can get a result. I think I'm going to go for St Johnstone to win 2-1.
Have you got that in the predictor? I'm just going to check that. Have you written that down?
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
2-1 to St Johnstone.
Charlie.
What's that steak taste like?
Charlie, I'm not having a starter. I'm going to have a steak and then I might have
a glass of red.
Yeah, red and a sweet. Are you having a sweet as well, Ruffy?
Yeah, well, if it's anything to go by, when I lost it the last time, you went through the whole card. You had a 7-courser.
I get the steak. The pasta with the steak.
Magnificent.
It was so nice. I was
really
nice
good,
wee pint and all.
The good thing about it, you didn't scrimp and save, Ruffy. You delved into.
There was only 2 years.
Yeah, but he still delved into his party
that's
thistle
just
signing
it.
on money from 71.
I just said, there's the menu, pick whatever.
He'll be flushing now anyway. Big
did.
Ruffy.
Yeah.
He did that. So
You'll be buying food vouchers now.
yeah. Absolutely. How do you see it?
I think it'll be a draw.
Yeah, a draw.
So much disrespect for the double champions
Yeah, Ruffy.
in this show.
I've went Dundee United 2-1.
2-1. Okay. St Mirren against Dundee. Ruffy, over the last couple of
Can I
weeks.
just sit behind this sofa?
I was just about to say, over the last couple of weeks, Ruffy,
Just don't pick his at all, Dave.
When?
In the midweek there. I
brilliant.
picked you. I picked you 3-0.
And it worked.
You cost me 5.
You 3-0.
You cost me.
It was 5-0.
You cost me
You know
5
8 goals.
points.
You know 8 goals off it.
You're getting it this weekend. No, you're getting it this weekend. It cost me 5 points.
Double barrel.
Well, listen, what about, I don't know about you, but the first 20 minutes, St Mirren against Rangers, I thought they passed the ball beautifully.
Yeah, Brophy's hot just now. So, for me, it's all about Charlie and his teammates picking themselves up, because nobody likes getting beat 5-0. There are people who have been there before and it's happened to them, so they know how to deal with it. There'll be players in the team who have been beaten 5-0 and haven't to deal with it. So for me, it's how they deal with it collectively and how they go out there. And obviously, it's positive. You get a goal, it settles everybody. If you go a goal behind, you start going. Some people will go, "Oh God, here we go again." So it's all about on the day for me. So I'm going to stick with St Mirren.
Yeah. What's the score?
2-1.
2-1. I've gone 2-1 as well, St Mirren, Charlie. Sorry about that. John Nelm says he's got no plans to sack James McPake. Why would that question have even arisen?
Listen, when you lose 5-0 at home, you understand the pressure that you become, but there's just knee-jerk reaction from everybody, and we move on, and we'll go again Saturday.
Yeah. Tam, are you sticking with your pal? There's a great affinity with us now. We're getting closer to Charlie.
There is.
Well, not me and Ruffy, we've known him for years, but from your own point of view.
No, listen, I think that Dundee will pick up points during the season, but not tomorrow. So I'm going to go for 2-1 to St Mirren.
2-1, we've all gone 2-1.
Charlie's been at a few clubs and we've all been at a few clubs. How do you feel the fans are reacting to that kind of result?
Because, they weren't happy.
I mean, we heard the Rangers fans after their game because they drew 2 each. So I feel the Dundee fans sometimes are overcritical a wee bit.
Yeah, possibly, but they weren't happy, and rightly so. When you're 4 down at half time, you voice your concerns and you're not happy about that. But when you're stood in that pitch, you're there to take that criticism. It's how you like you say, how we react tomorrow. It's not about, it's not going to be hand on a plate. We're going to go and have to work hard. We're going to have to be disciplined, keep a good shape. I see that McGrath is missing, maybe Erhan's missing as well, possibly. So, 2 big players for them, and we need to take advantage of that.
Yep. Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
We're going to say that anyway. I think that needs to be said. Of course.
Look at these two. He's so two-faced. Good luck, but I hope you can beat 2-1.
It's 5 points. It's 5 points, Tom. Listen, the other thing I was going to say is there was a period where we had a really good, decent period on our feed where lots of people were posting, positive messages about the club, pertinent points and everything. But we're now back to the shin pads being on, Ruffy, because Boba Job says, Peter, it's not 4 games without a win for Hibs. It's 4 defeats in a row. Get it right. So Boba Job's having none of it, Tam. He just wants the boot in. Bob's the type of guy that at the 5-a-sides, he just whacks you right between the legs instead of going for a shin tackle. You know what I mean?
He is, aye. And Stuart Ramsey is correct as well.
Yeah. Stuart Ramsey, yes. Yeah, I haven't heard that statement in quite a while. Well done, Stuart, for giving us an old Scottish phrase, which we won't bother reading out, but nevertheless. Listen, just in case you missed it, you can look back at your leisure on the programme. Hugh Dallas was on talking about VAR and how the Scottish referees are really looking forward to embracing it. I think people's understanding and interpretation of it might be a little bit different once we get it in, if they get the vote and everybody says yes to it. But you can look back on that as well. We did put out the question at the top, and some people might disagree on the top 10 Scottish footballers right now. I know quite a few people have been just posting who they think it is. Now, there's a few messages where someone posted, and I'm just going to see if the person who posted it has got what we were talking about, just slightly different from one of our, it's Boston Fran. who has posted his top 10. So let's have a look at what we've put together as potentially the top 10 players in Scotland right now, and see if you agree with our choices or you think there's somebody else should be in there, guys.
11 games have been played in the Premiership, meaning all teams have faced each other once. Let's have a look at the best performers across the country so far. 10. Jando Fuchs is the engine of the Dundee United side, who are flying high in 4th place. He's put in several man-of-the-match performances. 9. Tony Watt is joint top scorer in the league with 7 goals and looks more focused than ever before, as he and Motherwell strive for the top 6. 8. Benny Beningame has been a revelation for Hearts by dominating games against Celtic and Hibs. He's been crucial in their unbeaten start. 7. Jota arrived on deadline day, but he's already got 2 goals and 3 assists, with his silky step-overs and deadly crossing troubling for defences. 6. Craig Gordon may be 38, but he has been the standout keeper in the league, making big saves and keeping 4 clean sheets along the way. 5. Martin Boyle has been Hibernian's standout man with a league-best 7 goals. His pace is unrivalled, and he's deadly from the penalty spot too. 4. Charlie Mulgrew has marshalled a United backline that's conceded just 7 times, whilst helping with goals at the other end as well. 3. Joe Aribo has been Rangers' most consistent performer domestically and can unlock defences with his macy dribbles like few players can. 2. Kyogo Furuhashi is already a Celtic fan favourite. His electric movement and deadly finishing has seen him notch 5 league goals in just 8 games. 1. Callum Mcgregor has stepped up his game this season as Celtic captain. He controls every game he plays in, starting attacks from the base of midfield. Do you agree with our choices? Who do you think should be number 1, and who's missed out on the list that should be there?
Yeah, I love those little top 10s, Charlie, because it always creates a bit of consternation, argument, disagreement, and we're already disagreeing and we're only watching it.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with you in some of them, but...
Yeah, who?
I can't even actually remember who was in it.
Charlie Mcgregor. You're not having Charlie, are you?
No, he's done well for United, yeah, but you talk about top 10 players, it depends on what you want for your team.
Right now.
On form right now.
You having it?
I'm trying to think over the top of my head who's been better. Probably no anybody at centre back, but
John Suter, no, isn't it?
Aye, Suter maybe, John Suter.
I thought Suter, but I was voted out when we were putting the
That's
list
coming
together.
from a Hibby.
Yeah, I like Suter. You're not having Martin Boyle in it, are you?
I think Martin Boyle's a terrific player, but I don't think at this precise moment he's playing particularly well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're talking about form right now, this season is in the first 10 games, then probably not. But
probably not.
No.
Right. McGrath. Is it, man?
Yeah, I was voted out on McGrath because he's been out for a couple of weeks, Ruffy. So
a couple of weeks. He was only got injured last Sunday. Mate, that Gabs, he's honestly hopeless at what he does.
And Turnbull.
Turnbull? No, Wayne D's piece. Turnbull?
In and out.
Turnbull's been off in the boil, Ruffy.
I had Rogic in before Turnbull.
But what?
But the thing is, you've got one Rangers player on the top of the league.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, is that a mistake, Charlie?
Yeah, I think we've got at least. Alan McCoist.
Yeah.
Ali McCoist.
Well, on the basis of the on the basis of the 6 asides this morning,
Tell you another guy who could possibly win there. Ramirez at Aberdeen. He scored 8 or 9 goals.
That's a good shout. Yep, I apologise for that to Aberdeen fans.
Charlie Adam.
Ramirez. Another. Can you believe we've forgotten him? I love it. Hey, big players, big games.
That's all I'm saying.
Big games. His catchphrase.
Wasn't
Just an off game, Charlie. Don't worry about it. It was interesting, Ruffy. Would you have had anybody else in?
No, I like Turnbull. I think when you watch Turnbull, he's my kind of midfielder, 5-6 shots at goal for any distance,
Yeah.
That's what I like.
You need to watch more than the highlights. Anyway, Gordon, Ramsey, Kingsley, Carter, Vickers, Goldson, McGregor, Pollock,
Gordon Ramsay?
Hold on, I'm reading it. Craig
Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay. Gordon, Ramsay. Kingsley, Carter, Vickers, Goldson, McGregor, Pollock, Jota, Aribo and Kyogo, says Boston Fran. That's his top 10 so far. Listen, that's the joy of it all. We like to agree and disagree with all these things, but it was well worth a shout for some of the players. For me, I don't know if you agree with me, Tam, but for me right now, on form, the best player in Scotland is Callum McGregor.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I thought he was tremendous during the week as well. He's got everything. He's got everything. He's
changed his game, man. Yeah. You remember when under Brendan he was scoring the goals and loads of assists and that, to now, like you said, Bruni going out the door, he's a different personality. He takes control of the football club by getting on the ball and dictating the game. No going and shouting and getting people's faces and tackling and all that, but his personality and on the ball, that's what's making him a very good Celtic captain at the moment. And he's done really well, even for Scotland as well. I think we miss him when the games he doesn't play either.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a quick one, some other news I want to get in and get your predictions quickly. Hamilton Chief Executive Callum McGregor taking over the reins at the club now. It could be the precursor to a sale. That would be interesting for Hamilton Accies.
Yeah, I do believe that there are 2 or 3 people interested, but as the club are saying, it has to be the right person. It has to be the right person that came in and believes in everything that Hamilton do behind the scenes, which is quite a lot for youth football and academies. So they've got to get the right people in, to take them forward.
Yeah, I know we did mention this earlier. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. Managers under pressure. Is Ollie under pressure? This game coming against Tottenham.
If he doesn't win Saturday, it'll mount. But that's what happens when you're at one of the biggest clubs in the world. You lose 5-0 to your biggest rival, and obviously the pressure's there. But he seemed to be getting the backing of the board and people inside the football club.
The next home game is Man City after that. So if he survives Tottenham,
they've got Atalanta in the week, Champions League, and then
European
game, and then they've got Man City. So
3 games. And apparently Alec wasn't there, for crisis meeting at Carrington. He was there to get a suit fitted, because lots of people go to Carrington to get a suit fitted, Ruffy.
Yes, you do.
No, that will happen.
It doesn't work there anymore.
No, but the big clubs that I've been at, the sponsor, whoever sponsoring the suits would come to the training ground, and all the staff would be there to get fitted. Yeah. Directors, players, staff, everything like that. So that will be normal at Man United. So, but he's obviously had a word.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you dug it there and then you eventually jumped in. A couple of things before we go. Some tasty games to look forward to. Leicester City against Arsenal. I just wonder if waiting in the wings for the Man United job could be Brendan. I know he's been touted.
Yeah, listen, I think that there's no doubt about that. I think that's Man United are, for me, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and every manager would want that. Conte's obviously been heavily linked, but I'm sure that Brendan had a wee soft spot for Man United when he was a kid.
Yeah, absolutely, as well as Leicester, Man City, Celtic and a number of others.
Newcastle.
Newcastle too. Let's have a look at those fixtures, see what's on offer in English football. If you love English football as well, which I think we all do. Leicester against Arsenal, Watford, Southampton, Liverpool, Brighton, Newcastle against Chelsea, Man City, Crystal Palace, Burnley, Brentford, Tottenham, Man U. And then it's Norwich City against Leeds on the Sunday with Aston Villa, West Ham, and Wolves against Everton on the Monday. So some interesting ties there as well. Okay, a couple of little lines before we go. Stephen Cameron says, great show, guys. I'm in Cyprus. I love nothing more than getting home from work at 6 o'clock, which is about 4 o'clock UK time, jumping in the pool and watching PLZ soccer through the patio doors. And I think my old Cypriot neighbour has a fancy for Ruffy, as she always stops and stares in with a faraway look on her face when Ruffy's on the screen. Now, I don't know about you, Ruffy, but I had a look at that, I read that, and obviously the plane leaves at 8:30 tonight for you to go to Cyprus. Could you give Stuart Stevens' neighbour just a wee sultry look down there in the... There you are. That's
a moment to say that.
Oh, absolutely.
He didn't even ask me age, he didn't even bother with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to Cameron Fife also, he says, fit like loons. I love it. Love the show every day. I've been watching since I was 14. 14 he's been watching the show since, Ruffy. He's 24 now. He's 24, Ruffy. He's been with us since he was a teenager.
See what happens when you hang on in there. You get all the best.
Yep, absolutely, and that's why the Chaz is here. He's going through a little rough patch at the moment, but we are here for him, despite the fact we've tipped the Saints to win 2-1 against Dundee.
And you'll be getting the same text as you got after Aberdeen.
Absolutely, I hope, Charlie. I'm willing to drop 5 points for you just to give you an easier week. Anyway, thanks to Hugh Dallas for coming on the programme. It's great to get lots of people coming on. You'll see more and more special guests, one-to-ones. We've got some really good programmes coming up that I think you will enjoy. And as ever, you get opinion, bit of banter, disagreement as well. Some people disagree, and that's the joy of Scottish football and beyond. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Tell your friends, subscribe, hit the bell. You'll get the notifications of all our unique programming. And if you really do want to enjoy all the breaking football news, download the PLZ Soccer app. It has all the breaking news, Scotland, England, European and world football, and you can watch the programme at your leisure on your phone as well. Thank you very much to all the podcasters who've been downloading the programme too. From Tam, from Charlie, and from Ruffy and myself, thank you to you for watching.